the balanced hello, life finds a way. This is Alpha Book Club. This is the best online interactive book club out there. We searched, and it's true.
On the same page today.
Is factually correct information that I'm providing with you, and you know it's true because I'm wearing glasses. Hey there, I'm your host who spared no expense. My name is Maud Garrett.
Yeah!
Let's make that exciting. As always, I'm joined by the shifter of seats, the changer of bum positions, the host of animation investigation. It's Hector Navarro. Brought to you in a whole new angle. Is that the duck-billed dinosaur?
No, it's
a
his
hadrosaur.
laugh. Yeah.
It's a hadrosaur.
It's his loft.
It's his laugh.
No, you silly goose, it's my loft. Wow.
If you look back,
I didn't know
Vine is gone.
when Rachel gets drunk, she becomes more Australian.
I haven't
did not know
had
that.
any wine yet.
I had no idea.
I had a lot of coffee, but if you look on... Go
And
ahead.
that's Rachel Hunt, everyone. She's the Nerdist editor-in-chief
Hi.
and not Australian.
When I don't know if it still
Yet.
exists, but on the Nerdist Vine account from many years ago.
Hey,
there's-
cheers, toast to Vine.
Toast to
R.I.P.
that.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Vine. R.I.P.
I like
dinosaurs.
You can
R.I.P.
probably
Vine.
find it somewhere, but it's from our old office, so probably 2014, and it's just a couple of the people who worked here trying to do that laugh, and it's.
Oh.
I start cracking up in the middle of it. Yeah,
I
it's
can
a whole...
hear Lee being like, "Thank God I didn't have to work on the Nerdist Vine." I can hear him from over here, just like
We
dodge that
barely
bullet.
use. There's like
Yeah.
4 of them.
I use Vine. Hey, big shout out to our Alpha community who's joining us this week. We love that you join us, and sometimes you can't make it and sometimes you can. And then my favorite part is every time you can make it when you have not before, you are so relieved to be back. And that is a lovely feeling. It's like coming home and having a hug from a pet.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Hey, if you've got a friend, if you don't, that's totally cool too, because some of us don't. But if you do have a friend who would love ABC and can join us in the chat each and every week and become part of the family, you can tell them to use the promo code PADFOOT to get 60 free days of Alpha. I'm on a considerable amount of drugs right now. So let's get back into Jurassic Park. Don't sing it!
Yeah, good job, Mud. Hear it in your head, but don't sing it. Well, you can sing it at home. We can't.
Jurassic Park, where the dinosaurs came back to life. Jurassic Park.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
I have a question for y'all,
Yeah.
and I
Yo.
feel like the answer is yes, and maybe. Did you ever watch the movie We're
Back, a Dinosaur Story? Hell yeah. That's
we
what we're
talked
on the
about
same
this?
page.
No, I swear
We're on
we
the
spoke
same
about this
page.
because
Did
it was
we?
a repeating video when I was an impressionable age at the Blockbuster or local
Oh
video
yeah,
store.
yeah, we have talked. Yeah.
And it goes, all I could remember hearing is, "We're back, a dinosaur story." And I like,
That sounds like an obnoxious American announcer. Yeah, sorry about
Trailers
that.
from the 90s.
Yeah.
I sent actually Aaron a trailer today, and as it got halfway through, I was like, God, this trailer sucks. It's from the 90s.
Yeah.
It's got that weird VO.
I just rewatched Jurassic Park, and then I poured through all of the special features
Oh, nice.
on my Blu-ray that I have.
you watched it in
And
3D. if
I
I'm
watched
not
it in
mistaken.
3D.
I know, I missed
Lee was
it.
there.
I
Lee,
missed it.
let me hear it.
That's not.
It was good.
Yeah, okay, a little bit too long.
Lee came
in
over. We had a good
response.
time. We saw it in 3D. At one point, a raptor's head poked his head through the TV. I tell you what, it was real. It was there. He popped up through
Are
the
you one
tarp.
of 7 people that have a 3D TV?
Yes,
What's
and he
that?
won't stop talking about it.
I'm one of now.
I'm
I
wearing
think,
a white shirt.
in the
Don't say
Western,
stuff like that when
yeah,
I'm drinking
in the Western
wine.
Hemisphere, I'm one of 4. I'm one of 4 people now, and I will never stop talking about it. I invited you, motherfuckers, and you didn't show up.
Okay, I already had tickets to go see Alien, one of the
did.
greatest movies of all time.
Is it though? Not in 3D.
You know what? My
No, Alien is
Velociraptor
great.
impersonation can kind of be my Xeno.
Yeah.
Your
Dude.
xenomorph?
Xeno.
Or
Xenobite.
Is
That's
it zebra or
Hellraiser.
zebra?
Zebra.
Zebra. So you're xenomorph. And you're, sorry, it's a xenomorph.
Is that killing you right now?
That's
No,
that
Alien
sounds
Are you
is great.
more
xenophobic or
sci-fi, though.
xenophobic?
It does.
Xenophobic.
Xenophobic.
is like
Yeah, like
xenomorph.
an
Mind
Xenomorph.
you, you can win the argument. Is it Xena or Xena?
Game Wizard
Whichever.
definitely knows We're Back, a Dinosaur Story. I
Yeah.
just rewatched it when I was moving. I was unpacking stuff and I put it
And
on.
does it hold up? Kinda. You know what I love? I love two things. I love that Steven Spielberg produced that movie because in 1993 he knew that Jurassic Park was too scary for young kids. So he put out
It's the same year, I think, right?
Same year. So and I remember it was counter programming for my age group. I was 5 when Jurassic Park came out. Maud, you were -7, so you have no idea what we're talking about.
And yes,
So
Stephen,
coincidence
it's so short. Like it was over. It feels like a TV movie.
And going back to you talking about old trailers, when I was watching the special features on Jurassic Park, I rewatched the trailer for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And it's such a 90s trailer that I wish somebody could recut a trailer for this film, even though we all know what happens.
Matt
But like,
Cameron.
I
you know,
can do it for you.
2018. Yeah. It would be awesome.
Prehistoric.
Yeah. Yeah.
We also need a
Yeah.
cover, a like sad, creepy cover of a class, like a rock song.
Exactly. That I wish I could
Yeah.
sing. I want to do Sweet Dreams or something by the Eurythmics, like something
What's a good like?
I know it
Monst-
would be like She Blinded Me with Science, but it would be this slow. You're like, oh, this is weird. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
Anyway, the trailer was good fun.
Dinosaurs, and I started around that time trying to rewatch Land Before Time, but then I got too sad. So I stopped.
Yeah, man, that's a sad movie.
And if you know some of the behind the scenes of
I
Land
can't-
Before Time,
Oh, why did you do that?
it's too sad. Do you know?
Yes.
No.
You
Okay.
told me like 3 times.
I have.
And it doesn't get easier.
I know.
Hector loves-
that's the thing I can cry thinking about that. It's so sad.
Hector loves making
You
us
can
cry.
just
Also,
Google
I
it.
don't know how we got back to the Brave Little Toaster, but I am going to watch. It's
Don
on
Bluth.
YouTube.
It's all Don Bluth.
That's
it's all
fair.
Land Before
Yeah.
Time. We're
Little
back.
Toaster doesn't exist. I've never even seen a picture of it. Didn't make it to Australia.
It's
not
so
a thing.
scary, Maud. It's so
not a
scary.
thing.
It's really
That's
scary.
So fun. Hey, speaking of scary, apparently The Witch is getting remade with Guillermo del Toro.
The Witch?
The Witches.
Or Witches?
Witches.
Is it Guillermo?
Oh, that.
Producing,
Who was in the movie Witches?
And Zemeckis,
was it?
Angelica Houston.
That's right.
Angelica Houston, who should come back.
Who else was in
She
it?
should-
Wasn't there somebody else in it, or that's it? It was
no.
Jack
My
Nicholson?
Nightmares
No.
played a large role
That's
in
I'm
that.
thinking Witches of Eastwick.
Witches of Eastwick.
I get
which
them
is
confused.
not, yeah.
I
So
get
last
confused.
week on the book,
Yeah.
there's a little recap, a little refresher moment.
Yes.
Basically, a T-Rex was hungry, so he ate a goat. Not the goat, because the goat is the greatest of all time. And unless
true.
the Tyrannosaurus ate that. Thank you for the sympathy laugh.
Whenever I
live
see
for
it, I have to remind myself what that actually means. I'm always like,
Goat?
the goat?
If I see all
I always
caps.
think it's like game of a time.
What?
Yeah.
Game. Hey, anyway. They
I like
keep
your
going.
dino shirt.
Thank you. There are dinosaurs on my shirt. There is a Stegosaurus, there is a Tyrannosaurus, and there is a
Long neck.
the long one.
Long neck.
A long
The
neck.
long one. But
He's
it's
the same
long
for
lying down.
Brachiosaurus, I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a real fat
Brachiosaurus,
body.
right? Yeah.
Sure. Anyway.
I forgot a lot of the dinosaur names, but lucky for me, we get a lot of dinosaurs in this book.
I wanted to look some up and I just didn't. I wanted to look up the
Are you trying to say a dinosaur name?
yes.
Don't worry about it.
This
Hydropod.
Just want to point out a comment in the chat. Lee said that they used the 3D in Jurassic Park 3D real good. Thanks, Lee.
That's good.
Did he bribe you to say that?
Hadrosaur?
No, I did not.
Had-
No, a guy did
yeah,
not.
what's the
Lee.
hadrosaur? Can we put a picture of that up somewhere?
Ooh, yeah.
Hadrosaur. What? Why?
I thought I hadrosaur one, but it turns out.
Oh, that was good. That was good. I'd high five you, but you're sick.
Yay!
Air high
in
five.
The head.
No.
Hey,
Has the piece on its head that looks like almost like a hammerhead shark.
Maud
Yeah.
was
The
just,
duckbill? I
Maud,
thought that was
Maud
the
was just
duckbill.
doing a pun. I don't think we need any clarification on a
I really
hadrosaur.
did.
Oh,
I
No,
did
she
not
did
know
too,
being
but
that
she
good at
also
puns,
made
and
the
it's
pun,
an effortless
yeah.
assistance
That is
into
impressive.
delivering humor. Hey, then there was a huge moment in the film, and it set up a bigger moment in the book. What?
Oh, did you get confused? They watch a T-Rex
Oh,
eat a
eating the
goat.
goat
Yeah,
was
the goat.
a huge moment in the
Yes.
film, and it set up for a bigger
I saw
moment.
you're like,
I was like, I'll get around
Soul leave
this.
your
I'll get
body.
around this.
I don't know. Did we talk about this last
we
week or the
did.
week
This
before?
is a recap from,
Gotcha.
from last week. So yeah, so we talked about how it made more sense to in the movie not show that right away
No, it
because
was
you
there, and then it was gone.
and you
Correct.
don't
We had
the
and you
Jaws
don't
effect.
see
Jaws
you don't
effect.
see
Got
the
it.
dinosaur because it's such a big moment. And then we get up to the T-Rex and the raptor.
Yeah.
And then Tim thinks he sees a raptor. That didn't happen in the movie. Then they come across a sixth Stegosaurus, not a Triceratops, as
Yeah.
we saw in the movie. I've been thinking too much about that. Do you think it is like that? Why they made that change? Do you
I
think
know
they
why.
took it to go?
I mean, I don't know the exact reason, but first of all, movies have budgets.
Sure.
And back in the day,
What?
yeah,
Sorry.
it turns out, back in the day, computer-generated effects were probably way more expensive and more difficult to do than they are today.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't just have as many dinosaurs in the film as the book is littered with them, right?
Yeah.
Like
200 and
So we have,
and we see
have
so many.
what,
We see the compies, we see stegosaurus, we see so many different types of dinosaurs that don't really play into the plot in a major way.
Yeah.
So the film is just trimming the fat.
Yeah.
So it's,
And
we have in the movie the main ones are the
T-Rex,
raptors,
and
the brachiosaurus for that opening moment.
yeah,
and the sick triceratops. And the spitting
and then
dinosaur.
the spitty
Flocking.
one. Yeah.
the flocking dinosaurs.
Yes,
too.
the Gallimimuses.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
right.
Gallimimus.
Yeah.
They're flocking
the-
this way.
I can't wait.
spitting.
I thought for a second that this was the last section, and I was like, well, I can't wait to watch it. But I'm gonna watch it.
Ooh.
Maybe
I'm
tonight.
watching it next week. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not watching
Okay.
it this week because I'm
So-
so excited about this part of it.
There's also a baby Triceratops, which they started working on. Stan Winston Studios started creating and molding a baby
Ralph.
Triceratops, a baby Triceratops that was cut from the film. It was supposed to be on the segment where, in the scene where there's a sick Triceratops, the baby Triceratops was going to waddle through the grass, the tall grass, and bump up on Lex's leg. And again, in the early storyboards of the film, which I rewatched all the storyboards because they provided that for some of the special features, Lex and Tim's age were accurate to the book. Tim was older and Lex was younger. So this baby Triceratops scene was happening. So they cut it, and Stan Winston Studios maybe at one point stopped working on this, but they were working on...
Why did they change the age of the children?
I have a theory.
Go.
And my theory is that
They're new shoes.
what's that?
Are they new shoes?
Nope, these
No,
are
but
oldies.
I love them.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, very distracted.
Keep
for the
them
moment.
clean. Got to keep them clean. Somebody asked me, do you, it was on Cloak and Dagger, do you clean those? And I was like, nope, but I just reserve them just for when I'm doing shows. I try not to walk around in
Oh,
them
they're
for that
Calvin
reason.
Klein's.
Oh, are they really?
Yes, look at you, High Roller.
No idea. High roller, big baller.
Okay. What were you
So
saying?
the question was, why are the kids' ages like swapped?
Yes.
And I think that it's a little. I mean, somebody in the chat was saying, wasn't Lex pretty annoying in this section? And I think
Yes.
Michael Crichton wrote a pretty stereotypical like little girl character who is kind of rambunctious and annoying, and kind of a stereotypical sort of like an older brother, a little bit smarter, like wiser character who's maybe taking on some responsibility.
It's a little bit more vanilla, if I can be honest. Tim stole the show. Tim had the personality.
In the
in
movie?
the book.
In the movie.
In the movie.
In the movie. No,
Lex had a little bit more
I honestly
personality,
don't
a little
even
more
remember the kids that well from the movie. I always was more interested in the adults.
Love the kids. The actress's
I'm
name was Ariana something, and then the kid who played Tim I thought was also great. But
Wasn't he? What else was he in? He was in something.
I think they
Sandlot?
swapped them.
One of those?
No, he was in The Social Network as a grown teenage
Stop.
kid.
I mean,
He
as a
was.
kid.
Now.
He was the one that asked Zuckerberg, "Hey, do you know what this girl's deal is?" And then Jesse Eisenberg looked up and had the idea for Facebook, and then ran off, and he was just like,
I'm
"Oh,
gonna
okay."
hack into a girl.
No, his idea was, I'm going to go compare two girls' faces and call it Face Smash. And that's how we got Facebook, everybody. A gross dude. That's how we did it. Good for us. But back to the question. I think they swapped the ages. Number one, they could have had kids of different ages audition, and then they just met these two actors, and they loved this actress Ariana, and they're like, well, who cares if she's older than Lex? Let's just swap the ages. That's a possibility. That happens all the time. And number two, in the movie, they gave her the I'm a hacker. I like to be on my computers for a
made
story.
it
They gave her a little more to do.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like, well, let's make her a hacker if she's not interested in dinosaurs. Let's make her into computers, and then she could play into the plot later. And if we do that, let's age her up a little bit, and then Tim can be the young kid brother who, again, is closer to the age of being obsessed with dinosaurs, which kind of makes more sense in a way.
It does, yeah.
They made
So-
such good choices.
They really
in the
did.
movie. They, like,
And again, back to
Ooh.
Stegosaurus versus Triceratops.
Yeah.
You have all of this budget allotted for certain dinosaurs being made. We get to the sick dinosaur. What's a cooler dinosaur, Stegosaurus or Triceratops?
I mean, ask the chat. That's such a loaded question.
I don't know.
I think the answer is simple. It's Triceratops. I think it's more beautiful because Stegosaurus. Even you go back to Land Before
behalf of
Time.
all the
Spike
Stegosaurus
was an
watching,
idiot.
I am
Spike was
I
a,
love
we love
Spike.
Spike, but he's dumb. And the book goes over and over again how Stegosauruses have tiny brains that they're
identify
stupid.
with Spike
Actually,
because
I
he
didn't-
likes to eat.
I didn't
Yeah.
appreciate that about
goes,
the descriptions of these animals.
like a
He's just
big cow.
But he says it so aggressively.
I know.
This
He
animal
really-
looks stupid.
He's really mean to Stegosauruses.
Stupid.
He's really mean.
I was like,
and they're big and spiky, and Triceratops just look more.
They're regal.
Regal,
Sure.
yeah,
That
they're
makes
beautiful,
sense.
so-
Dr. Shire says it's claimed that Spielberg made the girl older and more into STEM as a way to promote girls in
Hell
STEM. If that's
yeah,
true, that's
that
awesome.
is
That's great.
So
Sounds
cool.
sounds
Because I was the same. I was like, I was not born, but also really into my MS-DOS. You know, so the fact that she was into it as well, I was like, yeah.
That's awesome.
I actually do want to ask the chat, someone had mentioned their favorite dinosaur, which happened to be the stupid Stegosaurus.
Oh, cool.
Yes, so I want to know, everyone's got a favorite dinosaur. What is it?
Triceratops.
Hit that chat up. There's a couple of other changes that happened from the book to the movie. They obviously did not make Nedry's death so graphic. It was still very shocking to watch, I remember, with the in the eyes after hearing that it's a poison and venom. Yeah.
That's your stick, stupid.
But in this instance, he gets his stomach sliced open, and he's physically holding his intestines in his hand. I should probably do my zip up a little bit more than I have.
I actually, it's funny, I've talked about this, about how I don't visualize things the same way. And I used to read a lot of horror books when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And for some reason that I didn't realize as a kid, I would read all these murder, like Fear Street and Michael Crichton and Stephen King, but then scary movies really got me, and I would have nightmares.
Because they're more visceral
it's
and visual.
It's visual,
Yeah, it's visual for you.
and so, but I remember, this is like one of the parts I remember reading when I was younger, because I read so much horror and kind of being like, oh my God, like the really intense horror scenes and the descriptions like were something that I thought was really cool as a kid.
Oh, okay.
Not in a murdery way.
Remind me to hug you after this.
Yep. Thrash Odin, I am a ducky.
Yes,
Oh,
you
wait.
are.
I don't think that.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Guys.
And Littlefoot.
Okay, yeah.
Littlefoot. What do you think? Littlefoot.
I was gonna
You're
say
like,
Spike. I also like Spike.
You're Spike. You're a combination of Spike and Littlefoot.
No, Spike can't hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Littlefoot, you're
Yeah.
determined.
And you're real smart.
Oh,
Yeah.
And you're pretty tall.
yeah.
long neck.
Yeah. And you like to yell
definitely
after.
Sarah.
You like to chase after shadows and go, "Mother, come back!"
Oh, what?
Huh? Too real? Oh,
God.
damn! Everybody, turn on me real quick, real
Oh my
quick.
God, that's not what Ducky would do.
You know what makes it sad is that he
Ducky.
doesn't say mom, he says mother. That's what makes it sadder. That's what makes it so sad.
So we're asking the chat right now. So if you have your
so mad at
desktop
you.
in front of
sorry.
you, or if you're able to see
I could make it worse. I can.
Don't.
I
the
won't.
chat
Don't.
function, we're asking you, what's a cooler dinosaur?
Oh,
Is it
cool.
the Stegosaurus, or the Triceratops? Voting is happening right now. Triceratops is coming in the lead
Yeah.
a little bit, almost
And
2/3.
don't get me wrong. I think Stegosauruses are super cool. I
They
love
are
the
cool.
plates.
They're my
I love the
brother's
spiky
favorite.
tail.
Yeah.
No, mine.
But I think that just like historically, anytime
Allosaurus?
you think
Well,
of dinosaurs, I think of two.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think of two dinosaurs, T-Rex and
T-Rex.
Triceratops.
Yeah.
Because and like I feel like in like
And
picture books,
I'd say Brachiosaurus.
I'm
Yes.
sorry,
too.
but Triceratops is not on my Triceratops.
well, whenever nice, really nice. That's impressive.
Good job.
Whenever I think of like a classic illustration of dinosaurs, or if I
Long
think
neck.
about
No, you
Yeah,
can't.
long
Brachios-
neck is up there, but I always
Yeah,
think of like
Brachiosaurus.
a Tyrannosaurus with a big, weird peanut-shaped head that doesn't even look like the cool, Stan Winston one, fighting a Triceratops, and that was the representation of a meat eater and a leaf eater.
Yes.
That's what I think of in my
Yeah,
brain.
That's true.
So, but
Although I feel like Stegosaurus was a big one too, and wasn't, not to keep going back to Land Before Time, but there is a dinosaur in Land Before Time who's an old man dinosaur who gives them yeah.
oh, the Ankylosaurus, yeah, I
they
love
roll
that.
and they,
Okay. Oh my God.
she's so proud of it. I thought that was amazing. I,
I don't think I've
remember
seen that movie since I
But
was
his name
8.
is Rooter, and I remember being really obsessed with him because he
I
goes,
wanna I wanna
"You
rewatch
listen
that.
to old Rooter."
Like
Listen,
Rooter,
Rooter.
R-O-O-T-E-R.
Probably.
Oh my gosh, can all my fellow Aussies in the chat have a laugh with me about that?
Ruda? What does that mean in Australian? What does
it
that
a
mean in
butt?
Australian English? What does it mean, a butthole? What does it mean?
Sex.
Someone who,
Put your pee-pee in a, what are you talking about?
yeah, if you're a rooter, you're having sex.
What?
Yeah,
Okay, you're gonna need to expand on
the
that.
old man.
What does it mean?
He's a rooter.
Like he's being rude?
All right, to root is to have sex. If you are
Oh.
rooting, you are having sex.
And if you're a rooter, you're someone who has sex?
yes.
Oh, that's
Well,
not so bad.
but like a.
Ugh. Like in like a gross way?
Ooh. I love mod on cold medicine.
Yeah.
Okay, hey.
It's not that different from mod sober. It really isn't.
Pterodactyl has a P.
That's true. Pterodactyl.
Thrash Odin says, I feel like Spike would talk more, but the other dinos haven't read any books because they won't be invented for 65 million years. Very good point.
So Triceratops won that one, but only by 54%, so that was a good comeback from the Stegs.
Nice.
So, Hammond's ice cream. and plans to expand Jurassic Park. What's
Yes.
the metaphor with the ginger ice cream, do you think? There isn't one? Good.
I don't know. I mean, the movie covers it, where they're eating ice cream when this horrific thing is happening, and Ellie Sattler is in the scene as opposed to Dr. Wu in the film, but in the book it's Hammond and Wu, and they're just talking about Hammond's philosophy, and they cover it in the movie. He still doesn't get it. He still doesn't get that they lost control.
He's much more of a villain in this than in the film, I think.
Absolutely.
In the film,
but-
he's a lovable oddball who kind of doesn't get it. In this one, it's like you're sort of willfully ignorant at this point.
I could see that. Well, you could argue that even the old man version is still
but it's
willfully
more
ignorant.
Yes, it feels more aggressive in this case, where it doesn't seem like he's worried about too many people, even as shit's going real south. Whereas Hammond, I think, starts to feel guilt in the movie.
He does care about his. You know what I love about this section, though, is that they talk about expanding to Europe and Guam, and it made me think of Harry Potter, which we haven't gotten to in our Harry Potter reading yet, where like you learn that there's other wizarding schools.
We're getting into it next month.
We're getting into it next month, but I'm like,
very excited.
Oh, why haven't any of the Jurassic sequels discuss this? Why haven't any of the Jurassic sequels talked about not just a different site, because Jurassic Park 3, the movie, takes place on a different island. It's like Site B, it's like not Island Nublar, it's some other island. But I'm like, Sorna, thank you. But what if Jurassic World 2 or 3 is like, oh yeah, we opened one up in Europe and one in Guam? Like, that's crazy. I would like to see that movie or that exploration.
Europe, it wouldn't. There's no.
There were dinosaur skeletons found in Europe.
Yeah, I guess.
What if
you
Europe,
do it in the
what if the Europe Jurassic
countryside or
World
something?
featured a genetically engineered dragon? Because they could just make that shit up. Do you know what I mean?
That'd be so cool.
Wouldn't that be the draw for people to travel to Europe?
Yeah, because you could do like a medieval style.
I love Game of Thrones. I want to fly to Jurassic World Europe because they have a dragon there, and it's just this dinosaur hybrid with wings that's all deformed and messed up.
Can it blow fire?
That'd be cool.
Can it breathe fire?
Yeah, of course. They can engineer that. And then
I
a
feel
lot
like
of people
Kyle
die.
has explained to me why they can't breathe fire.
Oh, really?
It's probably on Because Science. I'd watch
okay.
that show.
All right.
So what I'm trying to say is that when
Watch
you are
it.
ignorant and you have that much money, it's only a recipe for disaster.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Do you like Hammond being the villain? Is the next question that we are asking on the poll. Yes, he's a bad guy, says 25% for now. No, he's a good guy, says 8%. And he should be both, says 67%. Okay, so villain here is usually, no, not so much now, but usually is that people want to do bad things just for the sake of being bad.
It's intent,
Correct.
And I think that we are falling in 1993 is a time where villains were just evil.
Correct.
Hammond is not evil.
In the movie or in the book?
Either.
Okay.
He's a man with a vision.
He's a businessman.
It's a little Machiavellian.
Well, here's the thing. There's
right?
a line
and justifies the means.
There's a line in this section where he says, "I would never help humanity." And that line, I was like, "You're kind of evil."
Yeah. Then he wanted to help children, and it was like the most devastating thing, and this kind of resonated.
He wanted to make money off of children.
Yeah, I feel like he's such
he was devastated that he wouldn't be able to see how happy the children were at the park.
That's true. That's true.
And this is when Wu's going, are you kidding? This is the thing that you're most upset about?
Yeah.
Not the fact that this is literally going to funk up the entire ecosystem of the world.
Do you guys think that this is Michael Crichton's commentary on Walt Disney? A lot of people have a lot of mixed feelings on Walt Disney.
Yes,
and
I do.
after kind of
How are they the same? Mickey ain't gonna nibble my ankle.
But Walt Disney makes money off of people that come to Disneyland and Disney World.
And
they took over Anaheim and Florida.
And Florida swamplands. But I'm with you, Maud. I do think that Walt Disney...
Going there is a choice. You don't have to go
True.
there. No, but it ends up being a monopoly sometimes. But I do think that Walt Disney genuinely cared about...
I agree. I think he was a shrewd businessman, but I also think he was a genuine artist who did want to bring joy to people's lives, like for real.
That's why he was so everything still to this day is so particular. The experience from the way that they design rides.
Have you guys seen Lindsay Ellis's video essay about Disney and as it pertains to the movie Saving Mr. Banks, where it was that Tom Hanks movie where he played Disney? She's amazing, and she talks about how she sort of lands on what we're discussing, where she says that Walt Disney was somebody who believed in like revisionist history. He had Pirates of the Caribbean, but they weren't like raping and pillaging. They were this kind of alternate version of a little bit. They were grabby, but now they've replaced her with Red the Pirate. The point is that she says that Walt Disney is somebody who would look back fondly on history and maybe even his upbringing. And the discussion now is like, is that healthy?
Yeah.
Not always, but is it bad that he wanted to do that, and Lindsay Ellis kind of lands on like, not necessarily. It could be kind of nice. He was just trying to be nice sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think when you get into like revisionist history,
Yeah.
there's, the intent was good, but there can be a lot of damage
Yes.
from that.
Yes.
If you go to some of the other more fantastical things that they did, I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of good still there. And it's interesting that, with Saving Mr. Banks, that the writer of Mary Poppins hated the movie.
Yeah.
And I love the movie.
and we
it's
all agree
amazing.
that it's a
Australian as well.
masterpiece.
Yeah, but she wanted.
Actually, she is Australian.
Oh, was she really?
Did you watch Saving Mr. Banks?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, she
I
grew up
want
in
to.
Australia.
Okay. That's cool.
Well, not grew up the whole time, and then disowned the fact that she was Australian.
Oh, really?
But it doesn't stop her from being Australian.
That's true. That's true.
But I do think that Hammond in the book.
Okay, calm down. All right.
In the book, is a little not evil, but I do think he is a villain. I think
Yeah.
having that much power and kind of ignoring the fact that babies are getting their faces ripped off.
Guys, the T-Rex is the villain.
No, the
No,
T-Rex is. Ooh,
the
we
T-Rex
got
is
into this
nature.
on Nerdist News.
Yeah.
When we talked about when we did Monster Madness.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a difference between like a xenomorph or a dinosaur, and they're
animal.
animals that are reacting to their instinct
Versus.
a person
Correct.
who has thought
Correct. Yes.
and can read a book. A dinosaur can't read a book that we know. Well,
Yeah.
Is
We're
Jaws?
back-
Is the
can.
shark the villain of the movie in Jaws?
No, I think the villain is man's hubris.
Yes.
The villain is the mayor who decides to keep the beach open. Can we be real? That's the villain.
Okay.
And then he's still
It doesn't
the
mean
mayor
that they're
in
not
Jaws
scary.
too. Somebody tweeted, I forget who tweeted it, but they made an observation. They're like, the mayor in Jaws 1 who decides to keep the beach open is still the mayor in Jaws 2, which proves it is so important to vote in your local elections. That's such a great observation and very true. He's a real villain.
A Cat Who Games made a really great comment about this part of the book, if we can scroll up a wee bit. While we're doing that, though, do you trust machines or living beings more? Is the question that we're asking.
Wait,
Machines, living beings, neither,
animals,
both.
or people?
Trust machines. You know, like the park is.
Automated.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went to
That's
say
a great
fully.
question. That's a great question. Because here's the
Neither.
deal. We all grew up, well, except for Mod, you're 18. You turned 18 this year. Congratulations. You were born in the year 2000. Rachel and I
Yeah,
grew
she's
up
not
in a
drinking.
time before, yeah, that's cranberry juice. Grew up in a time before the internet is what it is today.
Yeah.
We remember having to call our friends to hang out with them.
I had
we
one of those
remember,
cool
my
phones
God.
where you can see all the wires through
yeah,
it.
the see-through phones. We remember like
Hi,
AOL
Mrs. June.
Instant Messenger.
I was
Yes.
just wondering if I could talk to Carly.
No.
and then hearing that, Colleen, it's your friend. And then when they get on, you're like
Hang
relieved.
on, Mom.
Yeah, I'm coming, Mom.
Put the other phone down.
We all
Put the other phone
remember
down.
that.
Don't
And
listen. You listen.
because we all remember dial-up internet, we remember the early years of the internet. We also know
AOL chat rooms. Dark
We
dark
also
place.
know-
dark place.
dark place.
ASL.
ASL.
away messages.
Oh,
we all
God.
remember. We all
Lucky
know
we didn't
though,
all get
14,
murdered.
pretend to be 16
that like
in those.
technology can be unreliable. We're used to that. Even video games, we're like, one of the first things we go to if a video game isn't working, we're like, blow on the
Blow on the
cartridge.
cartridge,
That
yeah.
doesn't work. But we're used
But
to
it
tech
did.
being like, the potential of tech being shitty. Kids growing up today, I think they have a different
Oh, they're
mindset.
shocked when something isn't working.
Isn't working.
And that, not to sound super paranoid, and
Yeah.
I don't have it in my new apartment, but having like a zombie apocalypse or a bug out bag or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the most likely thing that could happen is the grid goes out.
The grid.
And no one knows what to do because
Correct.
we're used to phones. No one knows where they live anymore.
Yeah, no one,
No one has a Thomas Guide
no
anymore.
one remembers
A what?
phone numbers, and no one has landlines.
Thomas Guide. Remember Thomas Guides?
No, what is
The
Thomas
big
Guide?
maps.
Sure.
Those big that
Nobody
were in
uses
your
maps
dad's
anymore.
Your dad's car under
Yeah.
the seat.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I remember
Were they LA
Well,
only?
even
Well,
then, I
that
still
would explain
remember-
why I know about them.
growing up in San Diego, I remember taking road trips to Las Vegas or to LA or to San Francisco and like buying a map in a convenience store and literally using a map. Like, we all remember that stuff. But so I think we might be the last generation that's used to, hey, if shit goes bad technology-wise, we can we know what
Yeah.
to, but
They
I don't know what's
didn't
gonna
have
happen.
the.
This is
doing
evolution.
decimal
This is
system.
evolution,
No.
though. Darwinism as well. If shit does go down.
Encyclopedias.
Yeah,
don't use
I still
those.
love encyclopedias.
But me
They
too.
were terrible. Hey, the answers, and I'm going to get to a Cat Who Games comment in a second, but do you trust machines or living beings more? The big
Neither.
standout winner was neither. A better question to ask, do you trust anything at all?
Yeah.
Yes,
Talking
no.
animals,
Yeah.
if they existed.
Do you have
Talking
trust
animals.
issues? Yes, no. Let us know in the chat. I have a feeling I already know all of our answers.
I mean,
Yeah.
definitely.
I don't trust authority, but I trust
Hell
people.
yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I was having this chat
Punk
with my.
rock.
throw the book.
I was having this
Throw the book.
chat with
Throw
my
it.
dad.
Throw it. Throw the.
My-
oh
my-
yeah, she did it.
My dad right now
I'm a rebel,
is
Dottie.
No, I'm reading this comment.
what? Oh, okay.
I'm reading
go.
this comment. A Cat Who Games who made a really great point about the book, which we are talking about. Remember the book? It's called Jurassic Park. Said, I set it up further in the chat, but the arrogance of the humans in this section is crazy. In the movies, they realized that shit was going south and they knew they couldn't control things. And I kind of liked that hysteria, like that unraveling of the sweater, and they realized that there was nothing else to wear. But in the book, though, they still think that they can play God and get away with it. And I kind of love the fact that they think that this little, you know, the lid on a boiling saucepan is enough to solve it all.
Well, we see that in I think still today, and we've talked about this a little bit, but with science and with tech, where you have these brilliant minds who really want to. Wow. Okay.
Catch up.
Well, I'll finish my point
up.
first, but
Okay.
I have long toes.
these.
They're so long. Why are you so long?
These.
What is your middle toe your longest?
Yes, like
too.
considerably.
That means you really?
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Guys, it means
I feel so much better
it
about a
means-
lot of things.
This is what it means. If your middle toe is longer than your big toe, it means you are unique. That's what that means.
But we all have it.
Yeah,
I know.
I have it, and I also broke one of them when I was a kid, and it didn't get set, so it.
Mine's way longer
curves.
than that.
I read
I don't like
once
to wear
that if
open-toed
your
shoes,
second toe was
but-
longer than your big toe, you were good in bed, and I've found peace with that.
Really?
Shut your jaw.
Okay.
Shut your jaw.
Alright.
Hey, that sounds good to
Is
me.
that B-Cup?
We did it.
Boom! But what I'm saying
Come
is,
on.
she's sick. Scientists.
Still, fist bump. So Howie Mandel, we can do it. Okay.
Scientists and
Tech.
tech. We have these brilliant minds, and you see it back to I mean, the atom bomb and all of these things where
Yeah.
you create something because there's this drive for knowledge and for growth and for progress, but there isn't necessarily, especially as new things are happening, and it's from the beginning of the book addresses
Mm-hmm.
this, there aren't these kind of checks and balances
That
to
was,
keep you from
Malcolm's
going
big
to
rant.
exactly. And so I feel like the book much more, it explores that concept much more because all of them at this point are still judging and thinking critically, like even the way that they're describing the dinosaurs and thinking about them and all this stuff. It's
No,
sort
I
of
feel
like,
like the achievement outweighs
Yes.
any responsibility.
which is
And-
a very Machiavellian way to
Yes.
look at things,
I'm
and which is no, I don't.
It's scary.
It's scary because
We got to read this comment in the
GRK,
chat. Yeah,
Pectus? Yeah.
GRK says, I hate Jeff Goldblum's character in this book. What an annoying asshole. He thinks extinction was a good thing. Yes and no.
I love and hate. I'm exactly the
I
same. You know,
love Ian
you
Malcolm.
know that Michael Crichton is
Yeah.
literally like
It's-
he's
he's-
monologuing through
he's Ian Malcolm, yes.
like 100%. Everything that he's dying to say, he's using
Yes.
entertainment to get his point across, which is very
Yes.
clever.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly frustrating because he's making all these arguments, and you're listening for 5 minutes, and then you go, "What is your actual point?"
Correct.
You know,
he
and
loves to hear himself talk.
like Ellie Sattler, she goes, "Hold on, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that we're gonna, like, the world is doomed if we don't check ourselves?" And he's like, "Oh, that's the last of my worries." And it's like, but that's what you've been talking
Yeah.
about this whole time. Like,
But it isn't until the movie is the one that actually has the line where Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum says, no, nature selected them for extinction, and that's why dinosaurs are extinct. Nature selected them to be extinct. I don't think that in the book Ian Malcolm's character is like happy that extinction happened, but I think that his character is a chaotician,
Yeah.
and man, what an awesome monologue that it was in the book, because it expanded on one of my favorite scenes from the film.
just because they could
Yes.
doesn't mean
we got to read it.
Yeah.
We got to read it right now. It's on page 318. We need a narrator. We need an Ellie Sattler.
I'm an Ellie.
You're an Ellie. Rachel, will you do the
Narrator.
honors in being the narrator?
Hell yeah.
I love this.
318.
I think we're going to start in You Want Some Water. That's Ellie's line. 318. And we're going to go to the end of this little section, which is 2 quick pages. Ellie says,
You want some water?
No, I'll tell you the problem with engineers and scientists. Scientists have an elaborate line of bullshit about how they are seeking to know the truth about nature, which is true, but that's not what drives them. Nobody is driven by abstractions like seeking truth. Scientists are actually preoccupied with accomplishment. They are so focused on whether they can do something, they never stop to ask if they should do something. They conveniently define such considerations as pointless. If they don't do it, someone else will. Discovery, they believe, is inevitable, so they just try to do it first. That's the game in science. Even pure scientific discovery is an aggressive, penetrative act. It takes big equipment and it literally changes the world afterward. Particle accelerators scar the land and leave radioactive byproducts. Astronauts leave trash on the moon. There is always some proof that scientists were there making their discoveries. Discovery is always a rape of the natural world, always. The scientists want it that way. They have to stick their instruments in. They have to leave their mark. They can't just watch. They can't just appreciate. They can't just fit into the natural order. They have to make something unnatural happen. This is the scientist's job. And now we have whole societies that try to be scientific.
He sighed and sank back. Ellie said,
Don't you think you're overstating?
What does one of your excavations look like a year later?
Pretty bad.
she admitted.
You don't replant? You don't restore the land after you dig?
No.
Why not?
She shrugged.
There's no money, I guess.
There's only enough money to dig, but not to repair?
Well, we're just working in the Badlands.
Just the Badlands.
Malcolm said, shaking his head.
Just trash, just byproduct, just side effects. I'm trying to tell you that scientists want it that way. They want byproducts and trash and scars and side effects. It's a way of reassuring themselves. It's built into the fabric of science, and it's increasingly a disaster.
And this is the line I relate with so well when someone just has to get their opinion across. Then what's the answer?
Get rid of the thin-intelligent ones. Take them out of power.
But then we'd lose all of the advances.
What advances?
Malcolm said irritably.
The number of hours women devote to housework has not changed since 1930, despite all the advances. All the vacuum cleaners, washer dryers, trash compactors, garbage disposals, wash and wear fabrics. Why does it still take as long to clean a house as it did in 1930?
Ellie said nothing.
Because there haven't been any advances.
Malcolm said.
Not really. 30,000 years ago, when men were doing cave paintings at Lascaux, they worked 20 hours a week to provide themselves with food and shelter and clothing. The rest of the time they could play or sleep or do whatever they wanted, and they lived in a natural world with clean air, clean water, beautiful trees, and sunsets. Think about it, 20 hours a week, 30,000 years ago.
Ellie said.
You want to turn back the clock?
No.
Malcolm said.
I want people to wake up. We've had 400 years of modem science, and we ought to know by now what it's good for and what it's not good for. It's time for a change.
Before we destroy the planet.
She said. He sighed and closed his eyes.
Oh dear.
He said.
That's the last thing I would worry about.
I have so many thoughts on this.
He honestly steps forward 9 steps back.
I love it.
No,
I love it.
I
so great.
So thank you for having us read that, because
one of my favorite sections in the
that
book
really
so
stood
far.
out to me as well.
Yeah. As we were reading, you said you weren't sure about sort of the housework and things like that, but
Yeah.
this is a thing that ties into modern politics right now, which is that we're still working not only 40 hours a week. Most people are working more, even though we have
advances.
We have all these advances. And so when he says the planet is the last thing he's worried about, to me, I read that as he's worried about humanity, because people are working and working and working to do the same things for longer and have no time for themselves. That is a problem that is so relevant now that not that I don't like being here but there's this established set for working that you work these hours, even though things are automated and you're using email and you're doing all these things, but none of the rest of it, the structure has really changed that much. So people are just working just as much or more and making less and don't have free time, and they're destroying the planet. Like, no wonder everyone's depressed.
25 years after the movie comes out, and
It's
28 years after this book, and it's still
Relevant,
like depressingly relevant.
I'm going to completely digress for a second because that's what we do here on Book Club.
Heck
but
yeah.
there's a working culture in Japan that is literally killing people at the
Yeah.
moment. A company publicly apologized on television because a staff member took 3 minutes from their desk to get lunch.
I never leave my desk to take lunch. I should.
And
Yeah, you
that's what's
should.
happening. It's like we are so competitive, and
Yeah.
it's this mentality that it's if you won't do it, someone else will.
Yeah.
And so our work culture is literally killing us. But there's
But-
another study where it was like a company somewhere in Europe, Sweden, somewhere like that, instigated 6-hour workdays.
Yeah, and they were more,
More effective, more
productive,
productive.
and
Really?
yeah,
Yep.
and in Germany, one of my best friends lives in Germany,
Yes, we've heard.
and yeah,
Berlin?
She's in Hamburg now. No, but she. Don't be jealous. You guys
I
would
am.
love her.
I'm jealous. I don't have a
but
best
you
friend in
met her.
Hamburg.
You met her, tiny blonde. But
Oh, now
they-
I'm really jealous. I haven't met her.
Well, you weren't at CNSPM.
Shit.
She'll-
No, I was
she'll be
at my
back.
place watching Jurassic
She'll
Park
be
in 3D.
not
Lee, let me hear it.
Not this week.
Tight.
Anyway, in Germany,
Okay.
you can't email after hours. There
I
are
love
all
that.
of these like work laws in place
And you know what
that
else?
make you
Yeah.
so
Australia
much.
doesn't. If it's 6:05,
Yeah.
you will not hear from that person.
Yeah, and it's almost, I think it's against the law
And it's
to
good.
yeah, and people are happier, and also they have universal
And
health care and all sorts
Going
of other
back
great
to
things, but-
Japan for a second,
Yeah.
they have a very, in some regards, unhealthy work-life balance sort of culture.
Mm-hmm.
But in other regards, when they get off of work, when they clock out, they'll go and they will get drunk with their bosses.
Yeah.
And like get trashed and like say horrific, offensive things to their bosses, and the next morning at 9 a.m. it never happened because it's
Yeah.
out. You know, and at the same time in Japan, they have different views on company loyalty. If you work at a company, they will take care of you and you can work there until you retire, sort of a thing. The way that it used to work in the United States in like the 50s and 60s, where a man or a woman would get a job and it's like, you're a company man, and we'll, as
Yeah.
opposed to now, there's no loyalty, there's no assurance that
all a climb.
it's
Yeah.
it's
But to
absolutely
what?
so. Really
Not to
interesting.
happiness, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Really,
But
it's
it's-
really, really interesting how different places around the world are working on this work-life balance and what we still have to learn.
Yeah, and this idea that Stephen, sorry, I just read what he said.
It's true. What's her name?
Jessica.
Jessica. In Hamburg. Jessica right now somewhere, she's like,
They're in the show pod, Lisa.
she's
Yeah, I wanna
drinking a
know
beer and
really
she's like,
too.
I've done it again.
She's having a cheese party right now.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, you guys can both pour a little bit of wine in my drink now.
No, I'll drink all this.
Okay.
You're on your own.
You want some more?
I poured poorly. I poorly
But
poured.
yeah, it's
You
this
poured poorly.
it's this idea that
Oh, that's plenty.
Man.
that science can't
Shit, that is true, Ryan.
What happened?
Japan's
Oh
suicide
yeah, they
rate is
do.
through the roof.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not saying that they're right or wrong. I'm saying that they have different
It's a
views on
completely
different
different work
things.
It's a
ethic.
cultural.
There's different things to look at. that,
Guys, Australia
you know-
and America have completely different cultures, as I have succumbed
Yeah, no,
myself
yeah,
into. It's huge,
absolutely.
the differences. And it's a big culture shock. Even though we look the same, we nearly sound the same, it's very different.
Well, I also, someone above, and a couple people were commenting on this, but the idea is eventually the Earth will be fine. The Earth was fine after.
Oh, because we're all going to die and there's going to be
Yeah.
another ice age? Yeah, the Earth is going
Well,
to. They don't
that's
give
the
a
thing.
The
is
Earth doesn't
that
give a
the
shit about
Earth
us.
will eventually
Heal itself.
yeah.
heal itself or become
Earth
something
is
different.
Thanos.
The way-
Yeah, it is.
Kind of, because when you look at the descriptions in the beginning of what the Earth was like when the dinosaurs lived
Yeah,
there, it's
yeah.
completely different because Natural Selection, which is a show you can watch on
nice.
YouTube and Alpha
Nice.
and other places, with
Nice.
Dan and
Nice.
Kyle. It's pop culture and science. It's really fun. I want to be a guest judge. Hey, I want to be a guest judge.
Oh, that's not subtle.
But thanks. But the Earth will be fine if the
Yeah.
planet overheats, which it is, and
The Earth will be
the sea rises and Los Angeles is swept away,
Guys,
which
it's done
it
so
will
many
be.
times. That's why it's called like
That's-
the different ages.
Right, exactly. So it
But
is
animal
man's hubris
species-
to
yes.
think that the world. Do you worry about the planet? No, the planet will be fine.
Correct.
We'll be gone
But
because
it's
we've
us-
fucked ourselves.
Yeah, it's
Thank
us trying
you.
to protect ourselves and other animal species as they die.
This
and,
is from the 80s?
no,
What year
89,
is it?
90?
Late
89, 90.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot about here about us destroying the planet, and,
And
we're still doing it.
Like you said earlier, Rachel.
every
Now,
day.
And
so
computer
much of this.
dependency
Yep.
and discoveries and science, like
Yeah.
the way that it's almost abusive.
So
Yeah.
much of this applies now to tech.
Yeah.
Emerging tech is the new thing, not just bioengineering,
Yeah,
but
that
like
you can like basically Photoshop people onto videos.
Jordan
and
Peele did a
without
video
their-
about it.
Oh wow.
Barack
It's
Obama,
so
with Jordan
scary.
Peele's
Yeah.
voice as a way to let people know, hey, don't fall for this kind of shit. This is
Yeah.
going to
It's
happen.
so
Kumail
scary.
Nanjiani from Silicon Valley is constantly tweeting about new tech advances, and he's like, this is so irresponsible, and this is the kind of thing that we see all the time on the show when we talk to people in the tech sector. That crazy video where Apple or whoever designed like a personal assistant that sounds like a person, and if you tell the personal assistant like a Siri, hey, can you make a haircut appointment for me next week on Tuesday, and then they call the place. Artificial
your
intelligence
behalf.
calls the place on your behalf in your accent and pretends like to be a person to set up an appointment, and the person at the haircut place responds back, and it's like, whoa, that can have horrific ramifications, and none of the tech
anything
people
goes
give a
wrong,
shit.
yeah.
And like putting that in the wrong
because they
hands.
did it first.
Well, look at another Crichton story, Westworld. Westworld is Jurassic Park with robots.
Yeah.
And
If you're not careful, those robots will fuck and kill their way to high ratings.
because they're
I haven't watched any of season 2.
Neither have I. I'm good. I just did season 1 and I'm like, I'm out. It's too cynical for me. But that's a
season
great show.
was like
It's a great
such
show.
a well-telling story. Like the whole thing
Oh,
from
yeah,
start
it's
to
great.
finish. I was like, that was a lovely story.
But
Yeah.
like Game of Thrones, I'm like, oh, not for me. I'm out. Peace. But
oh,
so
I'm
well
very
done.
much into Game of Thrones.
Cool.
Ice Dragons.
but
Australians, that's what gets you into
there's
Ice
that, and then there's stuff
Dragons.
like
Ice Dragons. Thank you.
Her, which I love.
Her is so good.
And I did quite like Blade Runner 2049,
also
but
good. I have it in 3D.
I would watch that in 3D.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
I would
send you
like
the
to.
invite.
I would love to come.
You guys are invited.
I know. I just had plans. I'll
I
come to
know.
the next one.
I just missed you guys.
I
That's
wanna-
all. Not that hanging out with Lee wasn't great. It was
I know,
awesome.
but
Lee, let me
I
hear
would
it.
love to watch Jurassic Park
Awesome.
with you guys.
Cool.
But in Her, for Blade Runner 2049, I enjoyed it quite a bit, and it's beautiful. But I was most interested in the projected girlfriend as looking
Sad.
at a next form of tech instead of kind of
Just instead
dealing
of
in
listening
the
to
same
her from her, you actually have a.
and I left that movie being like, that was really great, but now I just want to watch Her again. And Her is so beautiful, but it's a really tricky thing about science and or tech, that if you make something that real and you give them a personality, then what you're doing to them is wrong. And it's similar to, I feel so bad for these dinosaurs. They're bringing them back to life, and it's not the right climate, even though they're trying to make it similar. It's still not, and they're falling apart and they're attacking each other. And it's like, this is your own fault.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for you at all. I mean, I feel bad for the kids. It's
You
not
know
their
what I was
fault.
thinking about while reading this section and when I rewatched the movie with Lee? Let me hear it. Cool. Every time. I'm sorry, man. Woo, Lee. I was thinking
crying.
about how messed up and sad it would have been for the first generation of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park to mature. Because there's no other dinosaurs before that. And it's like, you're studying behavior, and they don't know what to do. There's no other dinosaurs for them to observe. Because I just saw a video.
Is their instinct baked into their DNA?
Or is it learned?
Some of it is, but
Like,
some of it's not.
They don't know how to react to humans every time they see
No,
them.
because they've
Exactly.
never.
But
yeah.
I just watched a video on Facebook, like a dodo video, where they were like, this baby hippo thinks it's a rhino because we introduced a baby hippo that was orphaned to a baby rhino that was orphaned, and they think that they're the same. And as they got, those are super cute,
Happens
but
with like
This duck
goats and
thinks it's a
dogs.
dog. Yeah.
This goat thinks it's a dog, but then like the hippo thought it was a rhino, so it was grazing during the day and sleeping at night. And rhinos are more nocturnal than, or hippos are more nocturnal than that. So
Hippos
it's
are
this,
scary.
so it's this really interesting thing of like they had to wait until there was a hippo that could be introduced to this hippo, like a female hippo to the male hippo, and it lived 1,000 kilometers away, and they're able to rescue it and bring it. And then once the two hippos met. It's like, what does a hippo do once it sees another hippo that it like this? It's like Tarzan, like Disney's
Yeah.
Tarzan. Like I want to sing the song, the Phil Collins song that sums up what I'm talking about, but I can't. But when Tarzan first sees Jane, because he's used
You'll
to
be in my
gorillas,
heart.
Yeah.
you will be in my heart. But
Yeah.
I want to know. Can you show me? I want to know about strangers like me. I'm not singing it. I'm saying the words.
I want to talk
You can't
about.
say lyrics.
That's ridiculous.
I didn't know that.
I want to
That's
talk
silly.
I
about
wouldn't have encouraged it.
a big part
You were
of.
like- you were like,
I'm.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm crossing my arms.
Why?
I'm talking now. Two parts of the book. In this part of the book, two things happened that didn't happen in the movie, and I want to talk about it, if that's okay.
Yes.
So one of them is the water raft, and
Which
the
is
other
the
thing is
ride.
the pterodactyls.
Yes, well, the
Yeah, yeah.
water raft, I didn't realize
Oh,
that was the
my God. Neither did I until you just said it.
It was the ride.
I did with that part. I was like, that's like on the ride. But nothing else made sense to me until now.
It's
Yeah.
but they must have pulled it from the book
Oh,
when they were
absolutely.
making the ride, and
the
I remember when they
aviary
opened it.
is in Jurassic World. We
Yes.
actually see the aviary later in a movie, and at this point, I think the movies have actually exhausted every potential
Well, yeah, and
idea.
there's the
from
little
book.
ones with the little girl from the
Compies?
Lost World. Yeah, the
Yep,
compies,
yeah,
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the fact that, like, to get the fastest route to
Ruder.
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 to get to home base and get back to the camp is through this the river. And I'm also thinking that if Ed Regis literally had to pull giant leeches off his mouth and his body, wouldn't that be all over the riverbed and the
Sure.
river? Right, go
I
on.
think so. Well, it's also weird because you think about theme parks, like the Jurassic Park ride is a little bit more intense, but like lazy rivers and things, and how they have these places where maybe they wanted like tourists to just be like, oh, we're gonna go down the river and
Yeah.
get eaten alive by leeches.
I would
and
never go on a river. I think that water is a new terrain that would just add complication.
unless it's a theme park with fake like.
No, but in this situation.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Me either. I don't like a. I
think
don't
it
like
would-
a river or a creek.
I think it
seen
would be
Anaconda.
fun.
You don't know. Yes.
Seen Anaconda?
Yes.
Oh,
And
you
if
mean
you
like in
go
real
in
life?
a
Not
creek or a river,
mess.
there's like
Oh, yeah.
things swimming around your feet. No.
I think it would be fun to either go to Disneyland or go camping with Maud. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Because
We
I
should
feel
do a
like
Disneyland trip.
she would hate both.
Disneyland, I feel like you'd be okay with because
Yeah.
there are cocktails.
You've been to Disneyland,
and
yes?
They're
food.
very expensive
Maud,
and
you've
there's long
been.
lines.
You've been to Disneyland, correct? Once.
I
6
used to
months
go
ago.
camping when my
Maybe
dad
10
could force
months.
me as a small child. But
Camping can also really be fun, depending on
Yeah.
who you go with. Guys,
Yeah.
come on. If we had a camping trip, it'd be so much
It
fun.
would be really fun.
And if we went to Disneyland, Maud, don't make that
What am
face.
I
It would
doing?
be
That would
be really
fun.
fun.
What am I
What?
sleeping on?
What?
What am I sleeping on?
let's go glamping.
Yeah. Glamorous
Yeah.
camping. Maud, what are you sleeping on? I don't know, in a sleeping bag. For 2 nights. Calm down.
No, I have one
down.
rule. I have one rule in my entire
What
life.
is it?
Need a bed.
5 words.
Yes.
Don't fuck with my sleep. That's it.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm
All I
taking
have.
that.
And
Yeah.
a round of applause
Okay.
is happening
I will
for my
say that
one
along
rule.
with Contact, the other moment that made me freak out and have a panic attack was when I went camping with my dad. I grew up in LA where there are no stars, and I was out in the wilderness, and I looked up and
cool.
it freaked me.
Isn't
I was
it
like, "This is
amazing?
beautiful," but also, oh
Did you
my
feel
god.
did you feel tiny?
Yeah.
I love that. How about these 5 words, Maud? Spend time with your friends. How about that?
That's not my one rule.
Well, maybe it should be your rule number 2. You Grinch.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
Grinch.
Wait, let's go camping.
How about, yeah, let's do it. How about suspend your precious sleep cycle and your beauty sleep to sleep on an air
can have
mattress
both.
in a tent
Don't
for 2 nights
fuck
as we go
with
enjoy nature.
Let's just go glamping, and then we'll have beds and
But
nature.
honestly, I don't know why I'm complaining, because the reason I would want to go camping with Maud is just because it would be fun to watch you struggle. The whole that's what it would be fun. It'd be you complaining about the sleep.
We
the
can
next
bring
morning,
my dad's little
I'd be
camp-
making eggs, and
Yeah.
you'd be like, I
Over
had
the
a
campfire.
terrible night's sleep, and I'd
hate
be like,
eggs. Ugh. Hey,
We're doing it.
the
It'd
be
raft
fun.
scene.
There's a new show. We're gonna go on
it's just
field
Maud
trips.
constantly hitting mosquitoes. Like, why are we here? This is pointless. And Rachel and I are like, this is fun.
Let's tell scary stories.
The raft. Oh no, I will not sleep
Oh,
if you
we
tell
gotta
me
do
that.
it. We're doing it.
I hate
It's been
scary
decided.
stories. My imagination's too good.
It's happening.
So I'm asking the question, and you are answering it. Would you want that raft scene that we heard about in the book in the movie?
Yeah.
No.
I'm happy that
Yeah.
I'm happy that you know what, I did like the mating sequence between the
The spitters?
yeah. I liked
The spitters? The rooters or the spitters? Maud, what's your deal? Let's get to the root of the problem.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this
the
reminds me,
rails.
I gotta call Roto-Rooter because I got a toilet that's backed
Stott
up.
says Hector's such a Hufflepuff.
what?
I am. What does that even mean? I don't know. I would vote
Hang
for.
out with your friends.
I
What
know.
about the pterodactyls that literally dive bomb to kill?
That was
I
fun.
like pterodactyls
They're
because
creepy.
they're scary. Because birds are scary.
Wait, they're soadactyls. They're saurodactyls. They're
Pterodactyls?
pterodactyls.
Like triceratops? Yeah.
Pterodactyls.
But
are
I mean, like, some
superdactyls.
birds
Why do
are
they call
scary.
them superdactyls?
What?
Why do they call them superdactyls?
I'm not a scientist, Maud. I don't know.
Kyle. He's not here.
Kyle! Kyle!
Kyle Hill.
Hey,
Decent
we've
idea.
only got the last quarter of the book to go. I'm going to be watching this movie fresh again. Obviously, we've been comparing a lot. I can't remember. I think I only watched the movie about 7 or 8 months ago
Okay.
to get into the theme of Ellie Sattler, Dr. Ellie Sattler.
Oh, yeah.
right.
I think next week we should probably dress up as well.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. I already
right.
called dibs.
Dibs
I'm
on
sorry. I already
dibs. That's fair. It makes
sorry.
perfect sense.
I'm
Dibs
sorry.
on Alan Grant.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be playing a pterodactyl.
Malcolm,
God, that's gonna
all
be a
black,
gift.
tall person. in
Damn
the
it.
house.
I'm gonna be
leather jacket, right?
Arnold. Somebody give me a piece of paper so I can just have it hanging
Oh
from my
yeah.
mouth.
Oh,
That's right.
heaven.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good
I haven't
entry.
watched the movie in years, I think.
Really? I
like
watched
I
it
watched
last
it a
week
lot in
with
col-
Lee. Lee, let me hear it. Woo! Watch that shit in 3D.
It's
It was
gotta be
dope.
a new
Yeah.
bit. But no,
I'm so sorry.
I watched it a bunch in high school and college, but it's been a long time.
Thank you, Brucifer. Brucifer's like, why the hell would I go camping? I'm from Australia. Everything in nature's trying to kill me. Why would I
Because-
just
because-
write
toads.
myself?
Because camping in
Toads.
Because camping in Southern
I'm sold on the
California
toads.
is not as deadly or as dangerous as camping in
No,
Australia.
you get like
it's
a brown
different.
bear.
Yeah.
What?
Oh no,
Maybe
not
some
even.
mosquito, but
And
they're
I'm used
nice.
to.
Kinda.
I'm
They'll
going-
steal your cookies.
I'm used to going camping
tell you
either
that
in the
story.
desert or on the beach, which is what I used to do when I was a kid, and it's awesome.
I can
It's
tell you
great.
like 10 things that'll try to kill you.
I used to go to the Sierra Nevadas a lot and go
really
to
sick.
the
Yeah.
it's really pretty.
It's really awesome.
But I would like a bed.
Hold
so
on.
much fun.
Ryan Sheldon Art is dropping some fact bombs in the chat there. Tero means wing, I believe, and dactyl means finger. So a super dactyl would be a super finger.
Well, that's like polydactyl cats where they have extra
Oh.
toe
Interesting.
wings.
Wow. Hey, Hector, you should dress as Ducky, says Thrash Odin.
Yep.
And Game Wizard says Raph's scene in the book was put into 3.
Yep.
Quite. Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen 3. I kind of want to watch all of them before
All
next
right,
week.
After-
marathon, not camping.
I'm not gonna lie. After watching the original in 3D with Lee, let me hear it. Okay, he's quit.
Fair enough.
It did make
Stop
me want to watch,
milking
even
them.
though I know I don't like 2 and 3 and 4.
How do you know?
I know.
What about 2 though? Jeff Goldblum's in it.
I know.
A lot.
And I love
Julian also
Moore.
is in 5
I
too.
love scenes and elements from every
yeah,
one of the
that's true.
movies,
I haven't
but
seen it yet.
overall, 1 to me is the one that I will keep revisiting and I bought and
Of
I
course,
own.
it's
And
of course.
2 through 4, I'm like, they're fun, but they're not. But after watching the first one, I'm like, now I do want to watch all of them.
Yeah, let's try to watch all of them.
By next week, it's not
Yeah.
gonna happen. I don't have that kind of time.
I'm very busy.
I
Hey,
will.
don't forget,
But
we're
Don't
also,
sleep.
we're also on
Not her.
Goodreads. Just search Alpha
point.
Book Club. Come discuss books with us there. Apparently, we're having a little bit of a competition about who reads more books, and a comic is not a book.
Comic
Yes.
doesn't count.
How
Comic
dare you?
doesn't
You
count.
take that back. You take that back.
No,
You take that middle finger back. Take it back. Take it back. Take it back.
No,
Can we hear your T-Rex? Can we hear
Bad
your T-Rex?
Hector.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I will do it right. I'll sign off as my
Ready?
T-Rex. No,
It's like-
because
then you'll lose
your-
don't forget, if you've got a friend, tell them to sign up. 60 days, free alpha. Use the promo code Padfoot. That's all alpha programming. That's 2 months. It's so cool. And if you're interested in joining us on the show, guys, if you're a dinosaur, now's your chance.
What?
Come on the show. Someone's a dinosaur.
Oh, she's gone, Rachel. She's too high on that.
At
cold
Join
medicine.
Team Alpha with the hashtag Alpha Book Club.
She
Jump
thinks a
onto-
literal dinosaur is going to
Jump-
call into the show.
How cool would that be, though?
All right, we lost
Lots
Maud.
of Numbers is going to get you all set up to jump on the show, and make sure you send book recommendations, and you'll be doing it in the chat, which is so cool, at Nerdist, at Geek and Sundry, or at Join Team Alpha.
Finish the book.
I'm Maud Garrett. I'm signing off as a T-Rex. This is going to be loud. Are you ready?
Yes.